Yo, what's up guys, my name is Nick and welcome to this video. If you haven't seen last episode yet, go check that one out right now, link in the description as always. But if you have seen that one and you are excited for this one, then please like, and if you haven't done it already, subscribe. As this time it's time for the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka. But before we get into that, we are doing some upgrades as usual. We have 2k resource points to spend, and to be honest, we really need to upgrade. As you can see, we are putting a major engine upgrade in the car, and maybe another one. Let's have a look at that. It seems like a rear downforce upgrade. It's only a minor one, but still it's a good upgrade to get for the future, of course. But you can see right now personal department. We've had last time around a personal department where we were asked if we needed to do training on our software, and we did, and this was the result of that. And here we are in once again a wet qualifying. I don't know what it is with this series and wet qualifying, but we've had a few, if I remember correctly. Of course, last time in Singapore, where it ended poorly. Haha, funny joke. With a P22 and our teammates doing some weird things at the formation lap, but let's hope that we can this time get into Q2 or maybe even Q3. We need to look at our pace, of course, after this first lap. But I can tell you, before we are even getting into this lap, you don't need to worry about the time difference between me and the other cars in this first lap, because I spun in the S-curves, so that gave me no damage, luckily. I'm not gonna give you that. I don't want to damage my car, of course. But I spun a few corners after this one, and you can see coming to the end of the lap through 130R, going a little bit wide. Even though we went off track, we didn't have a invalidated lap, so that's good for us, of course. It doesn't matter at all, as we are setting such a slow time. That's even unbelievable that this is allowed. You can see 16 seconds is the difference between me and our teammate, so we need to improve, and which we are going to do, of course, in this second push lap right after we've set that first one. So I'm going to give you the place where I spun, and you can see it almost immediately as the delta will go up with 8 or 9 or even 10 seconds. I spun right there. But something happened to that footage. I don't know what happened, but it was just a few frames and not really smooth, so I didn't want to include that in this video. But we set a 141.8, still 7/10 of our teammates, but it's an improvement compared to last lap, of course. Now we are doing another lap, and you can see once again 16 seconds improvement, but our delta is broken. And this was our final lap, actually, because there was not enough time once I went into the pits. And as you can see, we are not in the top 14. Are we in the top 16? No, we are not. We are actually in P22. The track was drying up, but we didn't have enough time, which was sad, because otherwise we might have gotten something like P18 or maybe even P16. But we'll never know, so let's just get into that beautiful Japanese Grand Prix.
We come to you live today from the Mie Prefecture in the south of Japan's Honshu Island for a race that has seen many title deciders over the years. Some simple, some controversial, but all contributing to a legacy that makes the Japanese Grand Prix an indispensable stop in any Formula One season. We're southwest of the city of Nagoya today at the unique figure-of-8 Suzuka circuit. 3.6 miles and 18 corners make up a lap here, with average speeds approaching 136 miles per hour. DRS will be available, of course, into the potential passing opportunity at turn 1, although the best place for overtaking will be through 130R and into the final chicane. It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Lando Norris will lead us away from pole position, and it's Charles Leclerc in P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Russell, Ricciardo, Max Verstappen, and Fernando Alonso. Mick Schumacher, Hamilton, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Tsunoda and Lance Stroll. Sainz, they've taken a grid penalty. Albon, Valtteri Bottas, and Ocon. Liam Lawson, Gasly, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty. Nicholas Latifi and the engineer. Vettel, Magnussen, Joe, and Sergio Perez completes our grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson also joins me in the commentary box today. Now, I want to ask you about Lando Norris. That was a great win in the last race, but can they keep that momentum going into this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
I don't know what Ferrari is doing, but for sure they are doing something wrong, because it's now the 4th or even the 5th or even 6th or 7th, I don't know, but Carlos Sainz has had so many penalties right now. I think it started in, let me guess, I think it was in episode 13 where we had the Hungarian Grand Prix. As the race starts right now, it's lights away, and not lights away, it's lights out and away now. Alright, let's get a look at our start, and we are in 21 position as we fall back as usual, because our starts are not the greatest, and the Red Bull is of course passed us because he's in a Red Bull. I am still in a back marker team, even though we are upgrading, but still we are not quite there yet. Hopefully in the next season we can get our first podium or even our first win. And we've set up that we are fast on the straights, but through the corners we lose a little bit of time, but that doesn't matter that much. As you can see, there is loads of debris flying around, and I spin even because I was on the curbs and I didn't expect anything of this. But let's see what happened there then. It's actually the Williams that gets contact with my teammate, Schumacher who gets contact with the Williams, and then Vettel who gets a piece of debris on his car and also has contact with Schumacher. So there's 4 drivers into the pits. Perez has some damage as well, and the VRC is already ending, so we won't be seeing them anytime soon, as they are doing a 2-stop now. I don't know why, but they always do that. Once they get damage on the first lap, they always do a 2-stop, even though they could easily do a 1-stop by going onto the hards and maybe on later stages going on to the mediums or softs. Because if you start on the hard, on the mediums and you only do 1 lap on them, then you can easily get them again for later in the race, of course. But you can see lap 2, almost lap 3, we go to a true 130R and we gain almost 3/10 or even more to the Alfa Romeo driver. We are so quick through there. As I said, we've set up the setup for the straight so that we can be fast there, but of course we lose time in sector 1. I think until around this point we lose time compared to the AI, as it's once again 1.8 seconds, but let's hope that we don't get any damage here as we go really deep into the hairpin, which I had a fun little quiz on a few videos ago. If you want to see that, link should pop up right now in the top right corner. I don't know why I'm talking so much about another video while we are in a video. You can see it's lap 4 and we finally caught up to them. Hopefully we can overtake them as quick as possible, because I have some pace in this race. Pace in the race is always good. But still, we have a lot of cars to overtake to even try to get some points. We are in P18, so it's going to be a hard but not impossible quest to do that and get ourselves some points. As it should be possible, because I had the feeling that I was quite fast in Sector 2 and Sector 3. I even set some purple times in Sector 3, and I've gone wide at the spoon turn, but you can see we didn't get a warning, luckily, otherwise we would get a penalty at the end of the race, because I've done that a few times. But we have so much overspeed compared to Guan Yu, but we need to actually brake, otherwise we would lose our front wing to him. So luckily we don't do that at all. And we needed to go quite hard onto the brakes once again into that final chicane, which made my back end step out. So we now have lost DRS, but luckily the detection point was before the last corner, so we got it once again. To be honest, when I was driving this episode, I asked myself why there is no DRS zone in after the spoon turn into 130R. I think it's because otherwise you would be going too fast and you can't really overtake in there, or even driving side by side, as we are now overtaking finally in lap 6 Guan Yu Zhou, and the next victim is our teammate. Let's just give him some team orders. If that was in the game, it would be so much easier to just get a free position, but that is still not in this game. As you can see, once again through 130R we go, and we actually got outside the DRS with Zhao behind us, luckily. And maybe in a few laps time we can overtake our teammate, as he's now lost DRS on Gasly. You can see Perez has the fastest time of the race right now, as Zhao is once again trying to overtake me. He had a better run through the hairpin, but we managed with our setup and our straight line speed to keep him behind. We need to go fast through the 130, as you can see, to gain some time back, and we try to go around the outside here in the final chicane, but Liam blocks it off perfectly so that we can get past. But of course we have ERS, we have DRS, and we are a team owner, so he will let us pass. As Leclerc already made his first stop and he's coming right out behind us, so we might see some battles with him as well, if he can get past the two other drivers who are behind me. So now it's just our quest now to get to the cars in front, the likes of Bottas, who is going to retire after the season, and Gasly. I don't think he will retire anytime soon, but we'll see. It all depends on how the driver market will change into season 2. I've already made my decision for my teammates, but I will let you guys know that in the first episode of season 2, as we are in lap 10, and now finally Liam has lost the DRS on us, so we can try to get to Gasly without any problems from behind. You can see we are quite fast through Spoon Curve, and also in 130R, of course. It's only 2 seconds between us and Gasly now, so we need to have a good lap, and maybe then we can get to the back of him, because we gain around 6 or 7 tenths in the Spoon Curve and 130R. That is just ridiculous how fast we are through there. But if we can get a good run here through the S-curves, then we can get past him. As you can now see, Charles Leclerc trying to overtake my teammates. In lap 12 we are already. It's time for me to pit, but you can see they are fighting side by side through 130R. No contact, luckily. And you can see who is coming out ahead. It's actually my teammate who can defend from from Charles Leclerc, which is kind of ridiculous because he's in a Ferrari and my teammate is not, but it's good that he is trying to hold his position and try to maintain a seat for next season, but that will only be news in just a few episodes time, as we are now outside, out of the pits. And you can see our tires are still cold and these hards are just not for pushing straight away, so we need to let Gasly go, and only half a lap later you can already see, or even less than half a lap, we've lost another 2 seconds to him. So now that our tires are up to temperature, not entirely, but we can now try to push and get close to him once again, as now our teammate is into the pits, which means that he's not fighting with Leclerc anymore. But we will come out ahead of him. I think it shouldn't be a big problem to do that, and of course otherwise we would just overtake him, as our gap behind to the Chinese driver is now 5 seconds already. So we won't be having any problems with him later on this race. As you can see, it's the gap is coming down and we are setting our personal best of a 1:33.4. And I asked my engineer what Gasly's time was, and we were quite a bit quicker than him. So we are just trying to get a good run through the S-curves in Sector 1, because if we can do that, we can gain so much time in one lap. It's ridiculous. And we are now improving once again 2/10 on our personal best, but nowhere near a fastest lap, of course. And as you can see, it's now lap 19, not so long anymore until the checkered flag has fallen, but we are almost inside that 1 second gap. It's only 1.1 seconds and we know where we are fast. That is in Sector 3. And you can see we are now well within that 1 second gap, and we have DRS on Gasly, Bottas, and I think it's Latifi and Ocon who are also ahead of us. I don't know how Latifi got into P13, but he has done an amazing job so far, as you can see there. Once again, we run a little bit deep into the hairpin. I've done that quite some times, but it doesn't matter too much, as we win some time back here on these straights and through 130. As I think the drivers lived a little bit through there. I don't know why exactly, because you can easily go through there flat out. As we overtake Gasly, I completely missed that, to be honest. So now we are in lap 21, and you can see we've lost now the DRS to Bottas and, oh, it's Albon, never mind, not Latifi. I'm sorry for that, but I didn't even know which one it was. I made a guess and I guessed wrong. Let's hope in Sector 3 that we are fast enough to get within that 1 second gap once again. I am seeing a lot of gaps today, as someone is having a DNF because it's yellow flags at the start-finish straight. Who is it? I think, of course, on Haas, it's Kevin Magnussen. Let's see what happened to him. It's just an engine failure. Nothing much that happened there other than him getting a DNF. So he wasn't ahead of us, so we aren't getting any positions. But still, it's yeah, it doesn't matter too much to us, because otherwise we would have gotten, if we could overtake this whole club, we would have gotten into P11, I guess. So it doesn't matter if we would have been in front of us or not, as we are now in the dying stages of this episode. And you can see we almost collected Bottas' rear wing by going a little bit too fast into that hairpin once again. I just don't know what the good breaking point is, as Bottas makes contact with Albon. You can see us here, we tried to overtake him as well, and now he's into the pits. I don't know what happened there, why he was going defensive, because we weren't even close to him, as Albon just lets us. Albon, what are you doing, mate? You're just letting us through? Thank you very much. That's P13 for us now. And it's only Ocon ahead, our main rival, of course, for the rest of the season. Afterwards, we will choose a new rival for Season 2. You can see once again running quite wide at the spoon curve, but no penalty or warning at all. Let's just hope we can get close to Ocon once again, because we want those positions. Stroll is quite far ahead for only 3 laps remaining. So I don't think we are getting points in this episode, but maybe if we can get lucky we can overtake Ocon. This is Michael's, it's Mick Schumacher, and he spun at the hairpin. What is he doing? Why is he not going off track? Why is he staying on the track? Is it Ocon? It's us, we are going through. Thank you very much. I went wide once again, and I can go around Schumacher and Ocon. I didn't see that coming. Once I saw the yellow flags, I was a little bit surprised, and you can see how happy I am there by shaking my steering wheel. But this was up into P11. So if Magnussen would be ahead of us and he would DNF in front of us, then we would actually get some points. But sadly enough, that wasn't the case, as we are now going into the last lap. Our tires are gone, to be honest. I didn't have much grip anymore, but I tried to hold on, as we now have a gap of 2.5 seconds behind. Gasly is now in P12. So yeah, and it's Lando Norris coming around the last corner of the Grand Prix. And it's Lando Norris who wins for the 4th time this season, and he wins the Japanese Grand Prix. He won the last time in Singapore as well, as he is a 4-time winner already. And to be honest, I didn't think that McLaren was already that fast, but you can see clearly that he is making it work as we finish in P11. This was a good race, as we started in P18, 19, I don't really know. We qualified in P22, but because of those ridiculous amounts of penalties, we were higher up the grid.
Another race and another win for McLaren. Tell me, Ant, how do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
Our winning drivers are on their way to the podium right now. It's been a fantastic race for McLaren, that's for sure. And no doubt, they'll be celebrating tonight.
Congratulations to Lando Norris, George Russell and Max Verstappen for getting onto that podium. Quite a good race for us. I don't think Liam got far up the grid, so he needs to improve to stay on this team for the next season, because he's just not fast enough. We are setting some good results. Of course, we've had a few P19s and P20s, but still we also got P11 here and in Zandvoort, because as you can see, we finished in P11. Daniel Ricciardo is setting also a good Grand Prix here, or getting a good Grand Prix, and he finished in P4 and Alonso in P5. And as you can see, Liam is in P17. I only think that he got that position because the other drivers had some damage at the beginning of the Grand Prix, of course. So yeah, I don't think we are continuing our series with him. As you can see now, the rivalry breakdown, we are still 2 points ahead, so we need to hold our pace and get some more even to try and set some fast laps to win the rivalry, as our team acclaim is now halfway level 13 and we need to get rid of that Antwerpen, I don't know how to say it. That sponsor is just not good for us because we can't out-qualify Esteban Ocon just yet, and we now have 5.5 million in the bank, so we can get a good driver maybe if we get some more cash, even a great driver. But that was it, guys, for this episode. It's only a few Grand Prix left in Season 1. And after that, Valtteri Bottas will retire, of course. But next time around is the US Grand Prix. I am really looking forward to it. So if you want to see it as well, like and subscribe, of course, as always. And then I will say goodbye.